What is going on, Clippers fans? Welcome to Season 2, Episode 19 of Clips and Dip, your, borderline everyday Clippers podcast. We put some kind of content out if the Clippers play.
Multi-day.
Multi-day Clippers podcast. I am Chuck Mockler, joined by Adam Oslin and William Updike. Thank you to all the new people who've joined. If you're new to the Clippers, if you're new to this podcast, welcome. You can find us on Twitter at ClippersPod. You can find us on YouTube at Clippers Podcast. Today we're talking, James Harden's debuting against the Knicks. Everyone was mad at us for talking about him in the offseason, and here we are.
How about that?
We're going to talk his misconstrued quotes. We're going to talk some things maybe we've learned about PJ Tucker's spot on this team, the potential starting lineup, as well as kind of just what they have to do to get a win against a Knicks team that New York fans seem kind of concerned about. But before we get into all of that, my other two fantastic co-hosts are here. Will, Adam, how are you fellas doing?
Doing good. I haven't even gotten a chance to really chop it up with you guys about the Harden stuff since it happened. We've been going back and forth in the group chat, but we haven't talked about it. Huge move that felt pretty inevitable, but I think, this absolutely puts an end to the Clippers need a point guard talking point, right? This is the best point guard they could have gotten, best point guard available, definitely the best point guard that they've had in this era. So I feel like we can put that one to bed, and if it doesn't work out, then I guess we know that wasn't the issue, right?
It's kind of funny to think about this point guard saga if you think about all the true, real point guards the Clippers have brought in, right? We've got Rondo, we've got Wall, we've got Westbrook, we've got Harden, Bledsoe. It's almost like horror movies.
I thought the Bledsoe fit was going to go better.
Sure. But it's almost like horror movie sequels. Like now we're at the end. Like this is the end of the series. Like this is where we are. Adam, how are you doing?
I don't know. There's still more screams coming out. I'm doing good. Feeling
Did you
a little
even know about requels?
Is that like retcon stuff or whatever? I don't know how that works. I'm just a little bit salty after Chuck reminded me how many people said stop talking Harden this summer. I just would like the apology to be as loud as the disrespect was. Is that how it goes, kids? How do you say it?
All right.
I am.
On a very petty note.
I said I was salty.
Adam, you're getting too loud. Your mic is blowing out.
Your mic is blowing out. He's fired up. Speaking of some people who may be thought of as petty by other people, we have to talk the James Harden introductory presser. There was some misconstrued quotes, which is not a surprise. I don't think. The quote going around, of course, was that he said, he's not a system, he is the system, which also, if you look at James Harden's career, is not technically wrong.
He's not lying.
But then when it was further brought out, it made a lot more sense. The main points he talked about, proving that he's, elite as an individual. He wants to fit with everybody. He wants to make the championship run work. Will, how'd you feel after the podcast? Like you said, we talked about it in the group chat a little bit, but I didn't think it was going to go swimmingly. It's not a position to succeed if you're James Harden, with how quotes get taken out. So
wait, do you mean the press conference in general?
Yeah, or just the vibe you got, I guess, like how you felt after the press conference with Uno.
Well, I like a lot of people. The first quote that I saw, I can't remember if it was Malika Andrews or who it was that tweeted it, but I saw just sort of the system quote. And that one kind of worried me. And then I looked at the full context of the quote, and there was something like, I don't need to go out there and score 36 every night. And that kind of gave me some John Wall PTSD. But actually in the group chat, you guys both reassured me that, James Harden is a lot better than John Wall.
Yes.
So that is certainly reassuring. But I do think people went ahead and ran with that one. It's one of those things like, at this point in his career, Harden is never going to shake that perception. even if
he's earned it. Yeah,
he's in like a lose-lose situation, because I feel like even if the Clippers, who still aren't in the upper tier of contenders, which is fair, they haven't proved that I wouldn't put them probably with like Boston and Denver and those kind of teams, but even if they like win a championship, I feel like it still is going to be, people are going to think of it with an asterisk for Harden. Like I still just think that that's going to be the situation. And in terms of him being the system, I really believe, and I do believe this, that he hasn't gotten to be the system either in Brooklyn or in Philadelphia. I mean, Charles, you and I talked as soon as they made the trade, the Sixers-Nets trade. I could not imagine a worse coach for James Harden than Doc Rivers. I could not possibly imagine a worse coach. That pairing makes absolutely no sense. And I know that Harden, he gets crapped on for the way he left.
He doesn't help his cause. Also,
he gets crapped on for the way he left Houston. But can we be honest? That team was a joke. The team was a joke when he left. He was in his prime. It made sense he wanted to leave. The Nets thing. Are you kidding? Who wouldn't want out of that situation? You had a player. I know Kawhi and Paul George get shit that they don't want to play. You legit had a player refusing to play.
Really didn't want to play. Yeah, really didn't want to play.
And that's when his injuries started piling up, because he's having to carry a heavy load, which, like, man, you thought you were coming there with two other stars. You thought you were coming there to, maybe be the third best guy. And instead you're carrying the team. And then, you go to the 76ers, and, I'm not going to repeat myself on the coaching thing, but I can understand how you would want out of that situation as well. So, look, I'm not going to stand here and defend Harden, but I can understand some of his part of these arguments.
I like it. I think he doesn't have a bunch of goodwill with Clippers fans. Some Clippers fans hate Harden right now, but oh no, Adam, if you're not watching us on YouTube, Adam has changed his name to Harden Petty. I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor, because it seems like you're hyped up.
Do you really think I'm the one who has control over my name tag? That's all
you
Will,
can.
bro.
You can do that. Yeah.
I like Will's creativity with it. Harden apologist versus Harden Petty. Well, look, guys, I'll just play the audio for you. This is what was – no, I'm just kidding.
For those new to the show, Adam sometimes will blast an unrequited audio on the mic.
Great podcasting and radio audio technique. So here's what he said. He was asked about being on a leash in Philadelphia, because he talked about that earlier in the press conference. And I think it was Rachel Nichols who then asked him to follow up with that. And he said, I don't think when I'm in a leash, I'm not shooting the basketball every time. I meant, like, I think the game, I'm a creator on the court. You know what I mean? So if I got a voice to where I can go, hey, coach, I see this. What do you think about this? Then it's like, okay, somebody that trusts me, that believes in me, that understands me, that I'm not a system player. I am a system. You know what I mean? So somebody that can have that dialogue with me and understand and move forward and figure out and make adjustments on the fly throughout the course of games. That's all I really care about. It's not about me scoring a basketball, scoring 34 points. I've done that already. So that's what I meant by it. To me, that puts it in a completely different light regarding him saying, I am the system. This is basically him firing back a little bit at Doc Rivers, who's gone on this media tour and has gone after James Harden. Doc Rivers blaming someone else. I know some people are certainly not going to be shocked by that. I love Doc, but I understand why somebody will want to push back and give their side of the story, and also why you would want to be heard if you're one of the greatest playmakers and basketball minds of your generation with what you're seeing out there on the court. Do you not think Coach Lue fits into exactly what he's saying here? Coach Lue will listen to him, and he'll also be able to make adjustments on the fly. That's all he wants. That's what he's talking about. He's not just being pigeonholed into a certain role with this team. He's going to be asked about the feel of the game, what he's seeing out there, how they can take advantage of mismatches. That's, to me, the way to interpret this correctly from James Harden, especially when he comes in late and says, it's not about scoring 34 points. I'd have done that already. He doesn't care about that part of it. That's very encouraging.
Although for the haters out there, I do want to say anytime James Harden has a bad game, retweet the stat line with the homestar runner. The system is down, Knicks,
the system,
and you'll always get a like and a retweet from me.
That's fair. We're talking about Doc's comments too. Look at Nick Nurse's comments about Harden. He talked about how he was in shape. He was probably ready to play a game. Like, Nick Nurse is good with the media, but he never said anything that made it seem like Harden was making things more difficult for the 76ers. I'm not, I understand. I have my reservations about this trade too, but also at the end of the day, he's here now. We can't do anything about that at all.
Charles,
Kawhi wanted this. Oh, go ahead, Will.
I just got to ask you a question personally.
Yeah.
How big of a factor do you think it was for Harden in not playing a game with the 76ers, seeing him travel with the guitar case? Seeing Nurse travel with the guitar case. Do you think that could have factored in him not wanting to play a game for the Philadelphia 76ers?
I don't want to be seen. I don't know where Adam went, by the way. He's back. If you're watching on YouTube, Adam had to leave for some reason. I would never, if my coach had a guitar case that they brought on away games, I would fly private. I would say, I'll pay for this. I don't want to hear him start a song on the plane or anything like that. I hope I would be fully on James Harden's side.
You don't want to sing along to Wagon Wheel on the private flight?
I would Belushi that thing. I would destroy Nick Nurse's guitar. I don't think acoustic guitar should ever be played. Is a hot take that people can come at me if they want, but acoustic guitar should be banned.
Guys, I'm just amazed, and hopefully my mic is sounding better for those who
way
are
better.
Yeah, I'm trying to troubleshoot that behind the scenes.
You troubleshot it. It's great.
Okay, I hope I didn't butcher the Harden quote by reading it with a huge echo or something like that. But how about this side of it? For all those who are questioning the Harden move, how many of you were saying the exact same stuff about Russell Westbrook? If only we had a recent example of a guy who looked like couldn't change his game and then came to the Clippers and somehow was a different player, attacking closeouts. He's shooting damn 39% so far on this season. Going back to last season, he was at 36% from the outside. I'm not saying either of those are going to end up holding up. But if he shot 34% or above that, we'll be fine. That's all they're looking for. And taking fewer threes and getting other guys involved and just trying to make the game easier for Kawhi and Paul George. Oh, and hey, guess what? All of you who said, oh, that 10-game sample size, though, last season with Russell Westbrook next to the 2-1-3 connection, it doesn't work. We had 10 games of it. Well, guess what? Now going back to the last 6 games of last season, plus the first 5 of this season with that 3 lineup trio, it looks way better. So do we go off the 10-game sample or the 11? If 10 was enough for you, then I guess 11 should be even better, right? Because all of a sudden, their offensive rating this season with those 3 on the court is 128. Everybody kept saying, oh, that offensive rating with Russ, that offensive rating with Russ. I said it's only 10 games. Why are you putting so much into that? You guys know it was a huge talking point. So now
I do. Why are you so upset, though? We've moved past Russ rules now. Everyone's on board with Russ.
No, they're not. They're not all on board with it. And my point is, even for the people who are, some of those people aren't on board with James and saying the same things about James that they said about Russ. So I think it's important to go back to how you felt about Russell Westbrook coming into this Clippers situation and apply some of that perception or some of that perspective, I should say, to what's going on with James Harden now.
I think that's totally fair.
How is it not fair? Y'all said 10 games was enough to condemn the 3-guard lineup.
Who are you arguing with right now?
A lot of people. I'm gonna make it as loud as the criticism was. If nobody else is, I'm gonna call out all the people that said that 10-game sample size was enough to go after Russ being next to 2-1-3 and saying that the offense doesn't work. We now have 11 games and it looks like it is working.
Right.
So you're saying right, right, of course. Like, no, not of course. Nobody was talking about this. They were all talking about the 10 game that looked bad, but nobody was talking about now we have 11 games where it looks really good. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
So
I'm
make it
gonna-
loud. Make it as loud as it was about the 10 games that look bad with him on offense next to Paul George and Kawhi, right?
Yeah, I
Keep it
mean,
consistent. Make it fair.
all right.
Want me to go
Adams.
back to the rundowns that said that? His offensive rating next to Kawhi and Paul George?
I'm not saying you're wrong. We've all said on this podcast that we're on board with Russ now.
Well, you're acting like I'm being irrational, or where is this coming from? It's coming from a
No.
place where throughout the summer, the 10 games was brought up. Back in March, it was brought up. So now I'm going to bring it up the same way with the same amount of energy with 11 game sample size. And for all of you who are out there saying, well, context now, where was the context in the first 10 games with Russ next to Kawhi and PG? You didn't apply any context. Now people are saying, well, look at some of the teams they're playing. Okay, let's go back to the first 5 games they had. Who are those teams? Were they missing Ivica Zubac for those? Sure, but you didn't want to apply context then. But now you do. That's just interesting.
What does this have to do with Harden?
Yeah, that's where I'm confused.
The same people who are so loud about Harden, a lot of them were doing the exact same thing about Russell Westbrook. That's where it has to do with it.
Right, so let's move on from the Russ stuff because it's good now, and let's hope the Harden stuff is good because I believe in the Harden stuff. So I just hope you're not too stressed about old stuff when we do maybe have some new stuff to be stressed about.
If somebody is going to make that a talking point all summer, and at the end of last season, that Russ doesn't work next to Kawhi and Paul George because of a 10-game sample size, yes, I'm going to call it out once we have 11 games that says it does work. I think that's fair.
You're going Twitter account by Twitter account.
I have been.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Dude.
Don't. I'm saying for he
I
does
kept
have the bookmarks.
the receipts. All right. So
It's
if you don't think
wild
Coach
behavior.
Lou can make this work with James Harden, maybe check out what he did with Russell Westbrook.
I think this back-to-back also, if you're anti-Harden, splitting this back-to-back showed both games, even the win against the Magic, showed where James Harden helps. Kawhi goes what? Probably his worst shooting night of the night. We still get the win, but we need a little bit of extra effort. Harden helps that game, makes it easier on PG and Russ. That game against the Lakers, which probably a contender for best regular season game of the year. It's a shame, obviously, the Clippers didn't pull it out, but you can't pretend. What did Ty Lue say? He saw 53 minutes where he could use James Harden. We were shown immediate examples of how adding Harden helps this team. And now we actually get to see it against the Knicks, which is going to be a good time. Where are we at on the starting lineup? Law Murray projects that even when Terance comes back, probably it's going to be Harden, Westbrook, PG, Kawhi, Zoo. Is that a huge surprise? It didn't feel like. I feel like people are asking this question.
Man's not available right now, so no.
Right. Like people are asking this question, like, are they going to start together? I kind of assumed they were going to. With Ty Lue especially, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that crazy.
I do see the point of it being somewhat problematic because both guys are ball dominant,
Totally.
but Harden can obviously play off the ball much better than Russell Westbrook. His catch and shoot numbers last season, James Harden, 41% from the outside on threes.
Yeah, if you've watched this team and you know how Ty Lue operates, he was going to try both these guys at the same time, right? Like we've seen him play 4 way worse point guards together. Why wouldn't he play these 2 good point guards together?
It's also about massaging egos and personalities, right? Russell Westbrook has sacrificed a lot for this team. He has played well. He has been playing well in the starting lineup next to Kawhi and Paul George. But I wouldn't be shocked if we see a different starting lineup by the end of this season than we're seeing early on when James Harden is in there.
Totally. And it's the closing lineup, right? That's what we're all
exactly
going to be looking for, is who's going to actually close this game.
And Russ, at times, we saw it in the Laker game, 3 turnovers, 3 of his 6 came in that fourth quarter. There were some tough moments there.
And that pass to Zoo, shout out to LA Clippers Film, Justin W. on Twitter. That pass to Zoo, like he drove straight to the rim. He dumps it off to Zoo. There's 3 guys there. It's a tough shot no matter who's there. There's just, there's things that can help by having another guy like Harden. It's just less pressure on everyone else who's going to be running point for the Clips.
Will, what do you think? Or I still in bite everyone's head off mode and you're afraid to say something?
Isn't it, man?
Sample size this is pretty good, by the way. Fizdale in the house.
Take that for data. I think I actually don't love having both of them in the starting lineup. I don't think
that.
I think if this is going to work, Harden is already in a position where he's going to have to kind of sacrifice a lot. I think he's going to have to be comfortable taking more catch and shoot threes. He's going to have to be more comfortable like moving off the ball, initiating stuff without the ball in his hands. And I think asking him to do that with another point guard, I don't know that it sets things off on the right foot. You do kind of run into a problem of, okay, but then who is the guy? And I think with no Terance,
which we got to talk about that.
Maybe you give Tucker a shot.
I mean,
maybe
yeah.
So
I forget that we
Tucker at the
traded,
4,
Ooh,
G at the 2 next to Harden, Kawhi at the 3.
Yeah, Tucker at the 4. Harden, I mean, Tucker, the offense, it's bad. It's
Are
not
you
good.
saying because we don't have man right now?
Yeah. I'm not saying with man I'm not saying when man returns to the rotation, but without man, maybe give Tucker a
Adam
shot.
will keep that receipt. Adam will keep that CVS receipt.
Maybe give Tucker a shot, and it's sort of what we talk about on an old podcast that won't be named, the Gortat start, which is
we can say Locked On Clip.
No, it's a new era. It's Clips and Dip time, baby. There was nothing before. There will be nothing after.
Unhinged Clippers, baby.
Yeah, you guys are losing your damn mind.
But I think I think we take a step. We're taking a step back with Harden defensively. Russ, at least he's like a high effort guy. James can do some things well.
Low post, he's good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, deflections, all that sort of thing. But I think bringing in Tucker's best asset, which is the defense, and then adjusting from there would be my thing. Like, he's maybe the first sub out if it's not working.
So I want to talk about the Terance thing, because I feel like because of the trade hullabaloo, unless you're really, really following the Clippers and maybe in a perhaps unhealthy way, you missed this part.
That's a great
Terance
tease. Should we have an ad break at some point? Fellas, are we going to keep these lights on or what?
I got more to say in this segment. How dare you, Will?
Oh my God. Yeah, Adam. Dude, Adam's hand is gonna come into both of our frames somehow and smack Will and I.
We're gonna come right back. We got to talk about Terance Mann and the recent news about his injury and what that means for the starting lineup. Ads coming up. They have been a little loud, but maybe that's fixed now. We don't know. But we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Clips and Dip. I jumped on Adam's toes on there. Gotcha. We're talking Terance Mann's injury. I learned that Terance Mann had a podcast today. He talked about his injury. He said basically along the lines of, it was a pretty tough sprain. He may have tore something. There's no confirmation on that at all, but he's out kind of indefinitely. There's no definitive plan yet. And this means that PJ Tucker is going to get a lot more minutes, like we saw in the game against the Lakers. I will say, PJ Tucker on the boards, love it. Love PJ Tucker's effort on the offensive boards. We needed that. Everything else offensively, if he's going to be thrust in this larger role because Mann is out, I'm a little worried about.
Is it possible he just meant like when there is a sprain, there are micro tears? Like, we're not, because if there was a full ligament tear,
none of us are doctors.
We don't know. There's just no timeline, which I think is like, he's traveling with the team, but Law Murray doesn't think he's going to have any, definitive start or anything like that. So PJ Tucker will be getting time.
Can we also say, just traveling back to the Tucker thing, I mean, we are talking about a guy who was a starter, would have continued to be a starter on a team that was in the contender circle, in the conversation, in the Eastern Conference. So I don't know like why shipping across the coast. Look, man, I know that Tucker is not what he was. He's 38. He's the second oldest player in the league. I know that he's not what he was years ago. I know that he's not what he was even when he was on the Bucks. But there's still He's only one season removed from that.
Right. I'm just a little worried about the offense. That's all I'm a little worried about. It's going to be a pinch. It's not the whole season.
With Harden,
we just need these first 10 games to go.
But with Harden, PG, and Kawhi, you're worried about the offense.
Right.
That's what you're worried about?
That's what I think that's a great point.
No, just with PJ. I mean, you are right, but just with PJ Tucker, it makes it harder.
Better lineup around Tucker than that. Like, I just can't think of one. Unless you remove a center entirely and have him at the 5, but I don't think that's what you start with.
Let's not even get into that argument that's going on Twitter right now for Clippers fans. Some people think we should start small, which you can't start small.
It just doesn't.
Literally never gone well for the Clippers. Remember when Marcus Morris was taking jump balls when he was good at basketball? Like, it was bad even then. Like, I also think that Lakers game, what a tough position to be thrown in if you're PJ Tucker. Your first start is against the Lakers in a, you know what I'm saying?
I thought down the stretch he looked a lot better.
That's tough.
But Adam and I talked about
the boards
this.
were huge.
Adam and I talked about this. He was one of the few guys who could cover somebody without picking up a foul too.
That's
all
true.
5 of his rebounds were offensive rebounds, and he had one off a miss, got it out to Bones. He would miss a 3-pointer or 2 that could have tied the ball.
I thought that one was money.
Yeah, Bones just had an off night, as did Norman Powell, partly maybe because one of the effects of them not having their former lineup and their forwards, and also not having James Harden yet coming out of the trade move, was Norman Powell from the 6-minute mark of the third quarter played till he fouled out in overtime.
Damn,
he played
you're right.
over 20 straight minutes on the court.
Yeah.
And I was surprised by that. So if you're thinking of guys they were missing, like Terance Mann is soaking up those minutes. That would have been the guy, even without James Harden in that game. If they just had Terance Mann, I think he would have been huge and very impactful.
Maybe Kobe Brown gets more than 5 minutes. Who knows? You know, some are saying.
Only played in the first half. Your guy, Chuck. I get it. Hey, if you want to go off about that,
he wasn't super solid. I will say that. No, I don't keep receipts. No one should keep receipts.
You do on me with John Wall, but I guess
well, that's a funny bit. That's a funny bit.
It's hilarious.
46% from 3 is a funny bit.
Yeah, it was 39.
Adam's the receipt keeper, which is like the crypt keeper, but but like more petty, I guess.
Give me the nickname.
Way scarier. Yeah. Okay, so we're talking Clippers Knicks on Monday. James Harden, not official debut, but everyone is saying that that's his probable debut. He played in the classic LA Clippers stay ready game with the young players per Ty Lue today. The Knicks, Adam, you're doing the show with Andrew Claudio, I feel like this Sunday?
Yeah. Knicks Film School, I think it's called.
Yes, Knicks Film School. Knicks fans are uneasy about their team right now. They play the Bucks the night that we're recording this. RJ Barrett has maybe been their best player on both sides of the court. Jalen Brunson, not really efficient. He's volume scoring. Julius Randle's shooting 27% on the season. And I will say, if he has a bad game against the Bucks, I'm a little worried about Monday. I'm worried about how he might bounce back if he has another shitty game.
To Will's point, they may need more size against the Knicks. They may need PJ Tucker to play the 4 against the Knicks. Now, and when we always talked about this summer getting Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to move up positions and play the 3 and the 4 more often, my idea behind that wasn't so much as related to, because you have to have Russell Westbrook and James Harden in the starting backcourt at the same time. I was thinking more about Terance Mann next to either Russ or James, not both of them back there. But it's easier said than done, especially, Russ, he took $4 million to come back to this team, and he's done all these little things to help this team. And now you bump him to the starting lineup.
3.
I'm sure you
would have done it for $3.
$3. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it's
free couple of free over here.
Hell yeah!
I'm a huge fan of PJ Tucker. Like Will said, he's not the guy he once was, but in certain situations, as a specialist out there, I think he can help you, especially when you have Harden, PG, and Kawhi already out there to handle things offensively. People complain about he's turning down 3-pointers now, and he only took 1 against the Lakers and missed, I think, one shot. They believe it was a three-pointer. Those corner threes aren't coming as frequently, even though he's always shot it very well in that spot and did just this past year with the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm not that worried about his offense and actually being a threat out there. I know that could mean he hurts you with floor spacing, but it may be a situation on this road trip where you're just needing bodies and a veteran presence and a bigger guy, especially against the Knicks.
That's where we're at, I think, right? Like, we're shorthanded again. Just as we always are. Losing Terance is huge. The Clippers shooting from three has been insane. They're shooting 42% of their team on 35 attempts per game, which is like right kind of middle ground for the rest of the league. PG, 51% on 8 3-point attempts per game. And Kawhi's at 47% on 7 3-point attempts per game. I hope this keeps some semblance up against the Knicks. I would love for this to continue.
It's depressing that they lost that game where 2-1-3 had one of their best games ever as a duo, and they just needed a little more help from somebody else. It was them too. Russ scoring, but was just 9 of 21.
Not
if
efficient.
Bones had
they weren't efficient.
Yeah, if Bones had his typical night from what we've been seeing with him as a Clipper, they likely win the ball game. It was that simple.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, and Norm and Russ both had inefficient games. They were both like 43% from the floor.
Paul George was heroic in that fourth quarter, guys. 20 points in the fourth.
The three free throws.
Down 9 with about 2 minutes left. That was unbelievable. That would have been one of the ultimate Clipper comebacks, and we've seen a lot of them.
The thing about the Clippers, too, in this Knicks game, right now, points off of turnovers is kind of a weird stat in the NBA. The Clippers are first with 22 points per game off of turnovers, which, hey, testament to wanting to run more. We love that. We love the offseason stuff being true. The Knicks are 8th, and they're scoring 19 a game. So we're right there in terms of points off of turnovers. If the Clippers can be better than 21st in the league in turnovers against the Knicks, I like our chances a lot in this game.
It's a fair point. You mentioned them pushing the pace. There was a play early on in the first quarter. Yes, Bones had an off night, but one of his 2 buckets was him going 1-on-2 down the left side of the lane against Anthony Davis for a little scoop layup around him. That's just one of the things I love about Bones, just fearless. Like, he doesn't care. One of the best defenders in the league. They don't have an advantage, and he just took it to the basket because they're preaching get out in transition and run and try to get some easy buckets that way.
And I'm not sure what the Knicks' pace is. Let me look it up real quick. Pace is kind of a weird stat.
I think it's
Will, what are you looking for in this game? That would make sense.
I'm just looking to see like what the roadmap is going to be for these three sort of playing together. And it's really interesting because this matchup, I think is like the right amount of difficulty, but we create some unique issues. They have some size and some things that can kind of throw us off. And plus Brunson is like just a difficult guy to stay in front of. So I think they'll be tested on both ends of the floor. But it's not like it's not an insurmountable matchup. It's not a Denver or something like that. It's a good test of the waters. And, you're not expecting a whole lot from game one, but just seeing that people are sort of on the same page and we can kind of see, you talked about what you have in the notes here, like sort of smaller guys like Bones screening for Kawhi. And I feel like that's that's like the rough draft of if we can see Harden do sort of those things. Like if we can see Harden set an off-ball screen, if we can see Harden take a catch and shoot 3, I feel like that's really good process. And, that's all you're looking for. That's what I'm looking for. I want just even a glint of cohesion, a glint of this looking like everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows what they need to do to make this work, and they're willing to do that, even if it doesn't look great out of the gate. Like I just need like it to look like a baby step in the right direction.
And they should win this game also. Let's not no disrespect to the Knicks, but the Clippers are they're playing better basketball than the Knicks are right now. So I love that point too. Like this is a nice scenario to get everyone comfortable.
But it's not a walkover. You're not going to walk in. Like you're just not going to walk in there and like waltz out with a win.
Yeah, especially because in their one really true road game in Utah, they didn't look great. I'm interested to see how they start this road trip. And if they can apply those same principles we've seen at crypto.com, where everything they've been talking about during the offseason has come into effect there. But the Knicks are, I believe, 28th offensively and second defensively. And it's only a handful of games.
That's so fun. I love an end of this, both ends of the spectrum team. They're also, just quick update, 27th in pace. So yeah,
Bad. And the
the
Clippers
offense
are
is
what,
not fast.
16th in pace? They're
Something,
middle of the
league
pack.
average, something like that. Yeah.
To me, it's one of those games where when you're making adjustments with top end talent and you're not taking on a top 5 team in the league, one of the best teams in the league, granted, a team that got to the second round last season and they have a lot of continuity. It's the same guys are back, but there's going to be wonky possessions. There's going to be miscues out there with Harden for the first time. And you just need your superstars who have been there for a long time in PG and Kawhi to raise their level of play when they have to and overwhelm the Knicks with just having more talent. Like, it's not going to be, may not be pretty at times, but when they need buckets, like Kawhi and Paul George just need to continue to play the way they have so far this season, where they have looked spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, we will go as far as those two take us. You kind of talked about it maybe getting a little ugly. This Knicks team plays very slow. They grab a lot of rebounds. They're second in defensive rebounding percentage, fourth in offensive rebounding percentage, and second in total rebounds. So it's not some fluky thing. They're getting a lot of boards. Clippers, middle of the pack, 21st in total rebounds. We saw the second chance points be an issue against Utah and seeding these possessions and things like that. That is where the Clippers get in trouble in this game if things don't go.
Are they still starting Mitchell next to Julius Randle in their front court? Because if that's the case,
let me double check.
I don't mind that matchup for PJ Tucker on Julius Randle at all and Big Zoo on Mitchell.
They're starting. I mean, they're pretty much just starting Julius, Jalen Brunson, Mitchell Robinson, Quentin Grimes, and RJ Barrett.
For those who are like, oh, well, PJ Tucker's washed. What are you guys talking about? He hardly ever scores. Yeah, it's never really been his game.
Are those receipts I see?
More
coming
receipts
out of
coming.
Your shirt?
How many guys have been rejuvenated in a Clippers uniform? When are we actually going to sell people on, hey, it seems like they got a culture over here, guys. It seems like players like coming here and thrive and play well next to one another. Nicholas Batum, Reggie Jackson, many thought they were done. They had some of their best years with the Clippers. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that PJ Tucker also looks revitalized on this Clippers team to some degree. I don't think you can play him 35 minutes all of a sudden, anything like that. But situationally, I think he can help.
Who are we looking for? Will, what's a Clipper who's not Kawhi, Paul George, or Russell Westbrook that you're looking for to maybe help us in this? We get a couple days off, which is nice in this first East Coast trip.
It's got to be Adam's guy, the guy who is single-handedly responsible for how far the Clippers go. Bones Highland.
Gross mischaracterization. I have said he is somewhat tied to their ceiling. I have, and I do think he is one of the keys to this season, especially as Chuck always brings up, 17 games in March. Like, with this schedule being brutal,
I'll talk about it.
Even with James Harden, I still think Bones has to find minutes. If you're talking about pacing yourself during a regular season and not playing guys that are overextending them too much, then Bones has to get run out there. I know they have.
All right, so
sorry.
But Will said Bones for this Knicks game. Who are you picking for this Knicks game? Who's not Bones Highland?
Damn you.
Or Russ or Kawhi or PG?
I guess I'll go with PJ Tucker. I'm stealing that from Will. He took Bones from me. I'm stealing his idea about PJ Tucker starting.
All right, that's fair. I'm going I think James Harden does a very James Harden thing and maybe has a really good first impression. I think James maybe has a good game. I think there's a little bit of showcasing going on by the Clippers, which I'm okay with. Make him feel a little comfortable. I think he has a good game in his debut.
Yeah. It sounds like he looked good.
Bit of a low blow, but yeah.
Everybody's talking about the shape he was in. I pulled something from Tyrese Maxey, by the way, last night. Put it at Follow Adam A on X, but he was talking glowingly about just what a good teammate James Harden was with them when he was there at training camp and not getting in the way and still helping guys and playing hard when they did practice. And it seems like he's in better shape, Coach Lou said earlier today, than they expected him to be at this point.
We had that training camp in Colorado. He like rented a cabin and was doing the Rocky thing.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Harden like rented a cabin in Colorado and had some crazy off-season training thing per Chris.
He was
Hayes.
walking through the snow with tree limbs on his back, like Rocky
He's got to do
style.
the altitude
Both
training.
ways.
He's ready for the he's ready to go to Denver for a playoff series.
Yeah, he was in Butte, Montana, working out. All right, coming up, we're all predicting a win, right? I'm feeling. I said we split the back-to-back, but I'm feeling pretty good with this rest going to New York.
Yeah, I like it.
Right. We feel
good vibes.
Will?
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Right, feeling good. All right, coming up, we're talking the midseason tournament. The Clippers City Edition was finally revealed. We have to give a shout out to the Clippers Meme King. But there are some ads coming up. They've been loud for some people. If that's been the case for you, go ahead and turn it down. Ads coming up in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back into Clips and Dips Season 2. I'm Adam Oslin. We got Chuck Mockler and Will Updike here. And as we said earlier, we appreciate all the new listeners. I don't always get this upset, but when I do, you're going to hear about it. I've been waiting for that one. So I guess
just wait for a 12-game sample size.
Well, look, I don't believe in either of them. It's not enough. But if you believed in 10, I guess you got to believe in 11 games, right?
All right, we've had enough.
We get
Fair
it.
enough. Now Will's triggered. So let's talk about something that has people more confused: the midseason tournament. I guess it's starting soon because they want to compete with the NFL. This is a dead time typically in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Well, look, normally people complain and say the NBA doesn't start till December, doesn't start till their big tip-off is on Christmas Day where they get the whole day to themselves. That doesn't even happen anymore. Usually the NFL, I think, has been getting a game or a Christmas Eve game.
Yep.
So they want to draw more eyeballs. And marketing-wise, look, the bar it'll be a little bit more exciting than you normally are at this point in the regular season. That's all they have to do.
That's
so
true.
I don't hate it. I really don't. Avisa Zubats was talking about it like, yeah, I'm used to this.
Yeah.
So a few different guys have been like, oh, cool, we get to play for something else. I like these courts. Kevin Durant, they probably did some selective editing there. But other guys seem to genuinely be interested in the different configurations and color patterns for the courts out there.
Yeah, I said on here that I didn't think the court was going to look that blue in person. I'm retracting that statement. That court is going to be blue as hell in person for the Clippers. Will, are you hyped on the midseason tournament? I think it's kind of nice from process-wise. We were going to play these games anyway.
I'm in the same boat as Bones.
You're confused.
I don't get it. So it's the regular season, but it's also
Mm-hmm.
And, I know like a ton of other sports leagues do this. I just don't watch them, so I don't really get it.
No, that's fair.
It's 5 different groups of pool play per conference, and then each conference also gets a wild card team. So 4 teams per conference end up going to Vegas. 8 teams, and then it just whittles down to the last 2, and that's the only game that doesn't count. That's game 83. For those are the only 2 teams that play an extra game.
Wait, they're whittling? That's part of the cup. There's like a whittle competition.
You make a turtle, you win.
Yeah, you make whoever can make the best representation of the turtle that Earth's on the back of.
All I can imagine with this thing is like it from Major League when they're like ripping the things off the cardboard cutout of the lady. That's what I'm imagining happens for every win in the midseason tournament. But it's also a regular season win.
I think.
But that's also the cutout is Steve Ballmer.
Yeah.
It's a Steve Ballmer gingham shirt, and they're going, oh, and they're ripping off like a shoulder. Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be as successful as the plan was, but everybody criticized that too at first. And then we got a game between the Warriors and Lakers in the play-in, and everybody loved it. It was that simple.
Right.
So
and coaches get money now.
But it just like makes a little bit more sense to me. I think so. Here's my only issue with the midseason tournament. I get that I get that they want viewership up. They're still trying to somehow compete with football, which I just don't think that's really going to happen. But my issue with the midseason tournament is like, what does that mean to someone who's not already very into the NBA? What kind of draw is it if someone was at a bar and to tell you, this regular season win is actually a part of the midseason tournament, and this moves them in their group, which was pulled from a pot based on different records. And dude, if someone told me that at a bar, I would throw up and I would leave.
You would throw
But
up.
all the NBA cares about is that question: what is the midseason tournament? That is enough. The bar is that low that if it just piques interest to find out what it is, that's enough to make a difference. It doesn't mean they're all of a sudden going to take over the NFL. NFL is king. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. It's just if the ratings are slightly better because of this in-season tournament, that's a win for them.
Sure, that is a win. Yeah, it's a win for the league.
And they're giving coaches money in a midseason tournament. Everybody wears costumes. Winner of the 3-game series. You play a 3-game series against a Pacific Division team.
All right,
winner gets to choose the loser's costumes that they have to wear for the next 3 games. More fun.
I'm not mad at this idea.
I think it's more
spooky
fun.
Season. NBA spooky season. The Clippers City Edition jerseys were finally revealed. Hey, here's an update. Here's what's new that we found out based on what I looked at. Nothing.
The other merch I think looks really good though. There's a gray sweatshirt that just says Clippers basketball, and it's, what's the name of the artist again, Charles?
Jonas Wood.
It's the Jonas Wood basketball design. I'm probably gonna buy that. I can see myself buying that.
Okay.
Yeah. It looks good on the players, but no backstory other than that he's a season ticket holder. And he took an inspiration from the nautical theme from the 70s and 80s Clippers jerseys.
Which is barely perceptible. It's barely perceptible.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's just very.
If they didn't send a printout with like, oh, the little piping on this is an homage to the nautical San Diego Clippers, I would have no fucking idea.
My argument was, if your jersey's complete backstory can be figured out off of a leak with no missing details, it's not interesting enough to be a jersey, a special edition jersey, especially with what last year's was.
Let Eric design the jersey. Just
yes.
Steve Ballmer, you have the money. Figure out a way to get the in and out jerseys.
Yes. Eric, we have to give Eric Bui a shout out for the drawing. He did yet another drawing for Clips and Dip. It's over on Twitter. We're going to use it. We have it as our profile pic. We also might have it as our banner. We got a really good crop of what it looks like as the banner over on twitter.com/@ClippersPod. But he makes the good vibes janky drawing. Go follow him on IG.
He also makes very legitimate, like all sorts of. He makes the spectrum of art.
Yes, Adam, you look like you have something.
No, we should make that like part of our crusade to make sure at some point he gets to do one of the alternate jerseys at some year.
He should,
He's
man.
that good.
I mean, podcast. He's giving hats to Paul George, like they wear his hats on Podcast P. Like
it's kind of to me like why no team has like done an official. They've done merch, but they haven't done an official NBA paint jersey, and I just don't know why you wouldn't do it.
It's fun. It'll sell. We're going to be back, I believe, with a double dip on Monday if Adam will let one of us on the radio again.
We could do that.
Depending on
he's going to be too busy talking about the sample size. He's got to yell about sample size to every caller. He's pretty booked.
You guys are more mad about that than people who are hypocritical about it. I'm just trying to shed some light on it. That's all. Just found it interesting.
We're going to try and do a full tripod next week. Just funny. Could be the move. Adam, can we get a positive thing to say? We're also, Will, where can these people find us or tell their family to listen to us? It's holidays. You're going to have to talk about something. Might as well talk about
that. So you can listen to us anywhere you get your podcast. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. Like I said, anywhere you listen to it, we should be there. If we're not, let us know. Go ahead, like and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're not yet, check us out. That's YouTube @Clippers Podcast. Yeah, we bring you the vids multiple times a week, and you can chop it up with us at any point over on Twitter. That's @ClippersPod. Adam, I kick it to you. What is a positive thing to send us out on this fine Friday?
I'm just a big believer in Coach Lue making things work and putting guys in a position to succeed. How many times do we have to see it? Harden isn't John Wall, who just unfortunately didn't have much left. James Harden still has a ton left.
He's not
in the
coming off
tank.
an Achilles, a freak Achilles tear.
Yeah. And his playmaking, I think people are going to be shocked because most people just, kind of put him in a box and say he's the dribbler and he just wants to play one-on-one isolation basketball. I think you are going to be pleasantly surprised when you see some of the dimes he's dropping out there for the Clippers.
Pleasantly surprised by the dimes. Always a good time. We will be back with y'all soon. And as always, let's go Clips.